Hello and welcome to this week's show, the first show of 2025. The FAWNL has been away on its winter break and so has the women's football chat, and back now after that week off and eating plenty of food and all the rest of it, and well, watching plenty of ice hockey in my case. Very busy period at work with all the sport going on, but we are back ready for 2025. The board is is back to being pretty full, really. A lot of the teams obviously out of the various cup competitions. The FAWNL has gone through and filled in quite a lot of February, which seemed to be the kind of blanket month really for fitting in games that have been postponed earlier in the season. So there's very few games left now that have not been put in. And we're ready for the second half of the season to see what stories unfold in those second half of the season. I did ask on Twitter yesterday about what you're hoping for from your club in 2025, specifically really towards the back end of this season, but into the beginning of next season as well, although of course who knows what form the women's football pyramid or any of the teams in it are going to take come next August time. That's something we can all look forward to, but we get back underway this weekend on Sunday with what is almost a full programme of football. There's just a couple of games in the Northern Premier Division that are missing for this weekend because of FA Cup action for two of the sides in that division. But we will get straight down into it with the fixtures, looking ahead, and then looking ahead to some of your hopes and expectations for the next few years, for the next few months, rather. Very good evening to you, Nick, who says no cat appearance today. No, my cat decided to come and have a sniff around the room and scratch at the door about 1 minute before we went on air, and then wouldn't hang around to say hi to you all. But yeah, so that's where we're at. So what we're going to do today, it's going to be quite a short show, I think, because we've only got fixtures to look at. And then we'll go through what you're hoping for your team for the next few months or so. So we will start then with fixtures in the Northern Premier Division, just the four of them. Hull City against Stourbridge, 9th against 10th. Rugby Borough against Sporting Cowser, 4th against 11th. Halifax against Liverpool Feds, 12th against 6th. And West Bromwich Albion against Derby County is 8th against 7th. And we can look as well at the state of the Northern Premier Division on the right hand side of the screen there. Forest leading by just a point. Wolves behind them. Only lost one game this season, Wolves. That one was to Forest earlier on in the season. Burnley 3 points behind Wolves, but with a game in hand. So if they were to win that game in hand, they can pull themselves pretty much level with Wolves. They're currently 3 behind on the goal difference. That could obviously go a little bit closer, go the same, or go overtaking them. If Burnley were to draw level, i.e. win their game by 3 goals, then Wolves would stay second on goals scored. Burnley a little bit low on the number of goals they've scored. Down towards the bottom then, so that's the situation with the top. Rugby Borough 7 points away from Forest, 1 game in hand. You've got to say they're still in it, and then Stoke would argue that they were still in it as well. Obviously Liverpool Feds down in 6th on 16 points are not, but you know, those sides, although they might not win the title themselves, they might have a bit of a say in where the title does go to. But then down towards the bottom, I mean, all the teams towards the bottom of the table are in action this weekend. So because of Forest against Burnley in the FA Cup, it means that Forest aren't playing Wolves and Burnley aren't playing Stoke. So the top of the table is probably, I mean, Rugby will probably go up 1 place having beaten Burnley. But the top of the table is probably going to stay the same. It's going to be interesting down towards the bottom there. That table I've just noticed is not correct. I do apologise. Let me jump over to the page. I've just noticed that. I went through everything and checked earlier and it's still not right. hang on, let me go and sort that out. And then we'll jump back to the Northern Premier Division, because all of those things I've just spoken about will be wrong as well. Right, 11, 11, 10, 10, 11, 10, 12, 11 to 12, 12, 10 and 10. I checked this 3 times and somehow I still managed to make it wrong. Isn't that wonderful? Anyway, so while we're waiting for me to sort out my complete and utter mess, your hopes for the upcoming season in the FAWNL then? Probably, is it promotion? Is it staying where you are? Is it survival? That's going to be the question, and then we'll see what people can come up with. Northern fixtures, save, yes. Right, is this sorted itself or has it dropped frames? No, there we go, it sorted itself. So yeah, towards the bottom then, it's already a 6-point gap for Halifax. That's still incorrect. Oh, it's just 1 goal for Halifax. And then, so they're 6 points adrift, got a couple of games in hand. Stourbridge against Hull, that's going to be quite an important one. I've still not done it right, hang on. Trying to fix things on the fly and I've still not done it correctly. Hold your horses. First one back after a week off. It's a little bit rusty, evidently. Right. This is why when I did the pre-recorded shows, it was great, because if I spotted something was wrong, I could just ignore it and take it out in the edit. Northern fixtures. Right. So that sorted itself now. Yes, there we go. Right, so Stourbridge down in the relegation zone at the minute. Hull 2 places above the relegation zone, but Stourbridge with a win would overtake them, and Stourbridge have got 2 games in hand. Halifax have got 2 games in hand as well, but they are 6 points adrift, only with 1 draw to their names so far this season. So maybe it might already be too late for them. Is it going to be a case of which one of those kind of bottom? Would you put West Brom in that as well? Maybe you kind of have to. Teams will join Halifax, or will they? Of course, with only 11 teams in the championship, who knows what the pyramid's going to look like next year? Is there going to be an expansion? We're starting to get into this situation now. If only one team is going to come down from the championship, if that team is in the south, then there's nobody to replace the winner of the Northern Premier Division, which means for the Northern Premier Division to stay at 12, you need to only relegate 1, so 11th place might survive, and then you've got the same problem into tier 4 with the North and the Midlands, and only someone won't, and it's going to get very, very messy. But we'll see what the FA do with that. Southern Premier Division then, full quota in the Southern Premier Division. AFC Wimbledon against Cheltenham Town, Billericay Town take on #United, Gwalior United against Oxford United, Ipswich Town take on Exeter City, Plymouth Argyle against MK Dons, and Watford take on Lewis. So Ipswich Town currently lead the way, 3 points clear of everybody else, and with a couple of games in hand on Exeter City, who they play this weekend. You almost kind of feel like if Ipswich can beat Exeter City and go 6 points ahead of them, and with 2 games in hand, then Ipswich are just going to run away with this league. If Exeter City can pin them back, particularly if # can then get a win away at Billericay Town, then it could be wide open again. So a lot is riding on that game between the top 2. And then towards the bottom 2 as well, Plymouth will be desperate for a win. That could put Gwalior into the bottom 2. Again, you feel as though it's probably going to be Plymouth or Gwalior. Milton Keynes Dons, you would say, are already down. Cheltenham have probably got enough points at this stage to survive, and you would think that they're going to pick up enough points in their final 9 games to survive anyway. And Gwalior are kind of going to be fighting out against Plymouth, you would suspect, for that 1 spot of safety. Or maybe they'll both be safe if a Northern Premier Division team comes down from the Championship. We'll see. But Gwalior against Plymouth, interestingly, is the final day of the season. If that's a relegation survival game, then that could be a fascinating one to watch. Elsewhere, there's quite a few kind of mid-table. Watford 5th, Lewis in 7th is kind of a mid-table game. You could even argue that Wimbledon Cheltenham is, despite Cheltenham being in the bottom third. So really, it's the two teams at the top fighting each other and the two teams at the bottom fighting each other in Plymouth and MK Dons. And then everywhere else, it's kind of see where you are. I mean, some of the teams in the middle, it's why I'd love like a playoff system or something, or a league expansion, or just something for teams to be fighting for. You've got a team like Lewis, for example, like Billericay Town, who are too far above the bottom to really have to worry about relegation, but they're too far away from the top to even think about promotion at the minute. They're just going through the motions, finishing the season. There's not even extra prize money for finishing 4th over finishing 7th or anything like that. So what have these teams got to play for, really? Midlands fixtures then. Lincoln United, Worcester City, Northampton Town against Bournemouth St Michael's, Peterborough United against Barnsley Women's, Sutton Coldfield Town against Notts County, Leaford Athletic against Loughborough Lightning, Solihull Moors against Lincoln City. So I mean, the game really there. I mean, it's the teams down towards the bottom, isn't it? It's the bottom 6 are all playing each other. You've got Solihull Moors are hosting Lincoln City. They're the bottom 2. Then above them is Lincoln United hosting Worcester City. They're the next 2. And then it's Notts County travelling to Sutton Coldfield Town. They're the next 2. So it's really only until you get up into the top half that teams are really kind of playing each other. So down towards the bottom, then you've got Lincoln. I mean, you would think Solihull Moors are going to win. It's not going to lift them out the relegation zone, but it is going to put them within a point of Worcester City. Lincoln United, they're 6 points clear of Worcester City. Would they be safe? Well, if they win and get to 16, then yes, you would think they would, 10 points clear. And then you bring Sutton Coldfield Town into that with Notts County. There's that 5-point gap. A Sutton Coldfield Town looking over their shoulders? Perhaps not. And you've got to think that all of these teams as well that are down towards the bottom, Solihull Moors, you would think, and this is nothing against Lincoln City, but the kind of records speak for themselves. So Solihull Moors, you would think, will get 3 points today, but then, so teams might be looking over their shoulder, but then Sutton Coldfield Town next week, it's their turn then to host, to go to Lincoln City. Then later on in February, Lincoln United go there. Worcester City on the final day of the season host Lincoln City. Notts have got to play them as well. So you've almost got to think, well, that game against Lincoln City for Solihull Moors will kind of cancel out when everybody else plays Lincoln City. So for me, I think it is Worcester or Solihull Moors. Solihull Moors, of course, had that 1-point adjustment. Hopefully, that doesn't make the difference as to who stays up and who goes down in that. I'd never like to see a points deduction being the reason why, being the reason that a team gets relegated. Division 1 North then, full programme again. AFC Fylde against Middlesbrough, bottom of the table. They're hosting the team in 5th. Cheadle Town Stingers in 2nd against Barnsley, who are in 7th. Chorley against Durham Sestra, top of the table. Chorley against Durham Sestra down in 6th. Doncaster Rovers Bells against York City, 2 teams on 10 points, 1 in the relegation zone, 1 out of it. Leeds United against Stockport County, 3rd against 8th. And Norton Stockton Ancients against Huddersfield Town, 9th against 4th. So no real top of the table clashes, bottom of the table clashes here. It's all kind of top half versus bottom half. You would think that those top 5 who are really in that fight, Chorley, Cheadle, Leeds, Huddersfield, Middlesbrough, of course, yes, they're 5 points off, but they've got 3 games in hand over Chorley, so do not discount them. Cheadle have got a game in hand, so they could go top. Leeds have got a game in hand on Chorley, they could overtake them. Huddersfield have got a game in hand on Chorley, they could overtake them. As I said, Middlesbrough have got 3, so they could overtake them. So it is really tight at the top of the North, really tight at the bottom as well. 5 teams there, all within 1 point of the relegation zone. Barnsley are only within 4 points of the relegation zone. Durham Sestra 6 points. I have absolutely no idea who's going to go up and who's going to go down from Division 1 North. It's really, as I say, week in, week out, the most exciting league we have here this season. Division 1 South East, Actonians against AFC Sudbury, Ashford Town take on Dulwich Hamlet, Cheshire United against Cambridge United, London Bees against Chatham Town, London Seawood against Norwich City, Rail Bedford against Queen's Park Rangers. So we'll start at the bottom, that's the easy one. Ashford Town at the bottom against Dulwich, who are in 7th. London Seawood, who are 11th, against Norwich City, who are now in 8th. And don't forget, Norwich City are on 16 points. They started from their 11 games. They started winning by winning the first 4. They had 12 points after 4 games. They've now got 16 points after 11 and are down in 8th. They are, of course, nowhere near the drop because of the teams down towards the bottom. It will be 2 from those 3. Cheshire United have given themselves quite an advantage by getting themselves 4 points ahead of London Seawood. London Seawood have a game against Ashford Town coming up in February. That is the only game between those bottom 3 sides left. So you're looking, if you're a London Seawood or an Ashford Town, you need now to pick up points somewhere else other than the team near you. The likes of Cambridge United, Norwich City in no danger whatsoever despite their league position, but Cambridge United in 9th against Cheshire in 10th. Actonians against AFC Sudbury, 3rd against 5th. Top of the table, Rail Bedford go to Queen's Park Rangers, who are in 6th. And Chatham Town in 2nd are travelling to London Bees. You kind of feel, I think, that, I mean, 2nd against 4th, Chatham against London Bees is probably the game of the day there in Division 1 South East. Again, because I mean, can Chesham get anything from that game with Cambridge United? I think if they were to get something, that would almost be definitely curtains for the other 2 sides in that division. We don't, of course, know yet because Cheshire United have not yet. Oh, sorry, they lost 6-1. Sorry, on the 1st of September. So, I mean, that shows the difference between those 2 sides, or at least it did early in the season. Southwest then, full programme again. AFC Bournemouth against Moneyfields. Bournemouth Sports take on Maidenhead United. Bristol Rovers against Abingdon United. Portishead Town take on Worthing. Southampton Women's against Keynsham Town. And Swindon Town against Bridgewater United. So Bournemouth against Moneyfields. 1st against 3rd. Can Moneyfields be the side that stops Bournemouth running away with this league, if they haven't already run away with this league? They are they're level on points with Swindon Town, but they've played 4 games more. They're 2 points clear of Moneyfields with 2 games in hand. So if Moneyfields can get something from this game and go above Bournemouth, still with 2 games in hand, yes, but Moneyfields going above Bournemouth, then maybe you might start to have a little bit of a look at can something remarkable happen in the second half of the season. Bournemouth Sports against Maidenhead United. That is 10th against 8th. Bournemouth Sports really looking to increase that gap between themselves and the bottom 2. Bristol Rovers, Abingdon United, 5th against 9th. Abingdon nervously looking over their shoulders, particularly with the teams below them having games in hand. Portishead against Worthing is 11th against 6th. Southampton Women's at the bottom against Keynsham Town. Keynsham are 4th, going very well this season. If it wasn't for the runaway quality of AFC Bournemouth, then it could be a very interesting title fight. And Swindon Town against Bridgewater United, 2nd against 7th. Swindon Town on paper look like Bournemouth's closest challenger. In reality, with Bournemouth having played 4 games more than Swindon and the possibility of moving 12 points ahead of them, Swindon, I think, are fighting for best of the rest. So we've just got one more game to look at. Women's FA Cup 3rd round. Nottingham Forest hosting Burnley. The winner of that gets to travel to Newcastle next weekend. Next weekend is the 4th round of the Women's FA Cup. And so that is all of the fixtures coming up in the next week. So we're into the new year. Let's just have a look at some of the your goals and hopes and expectations for what you want from your side in the coming season, coming 12 months, maybe only 6 months. So Marcus doesn't really give us a goal. He just says Happy New Year, Chris. Thank you for everything you do. Well, Happy New Year as well to you, Marcus. Nick says keep the pressure on Forest in the title challenge. I'm pretty sure Wolves are going to do that. Beat West Bromwich Albion so we can start our unbeaten run against them again. Yes, after losing in the County Cup, that streak against West Brom for Wolves has gone down back to none. Jonathan has said for Stourbridge, let's just bring up the Northern table. For Stourbridge, 7 more points minimum after 21 games. So 7 more points would put Stourbridge on 13. Is that going to be enough to get them out of the safe in the Northern Premier Division? I think that's going to be right on the border. I think Stourbridge might need a little bit more than that. But we'll see what happens over the coming weeks. I think they've got those games in hand in the next 12 games. So we'll see, really. I think that it's going to be right on the border, that, for Stourbridge. Graham says, a second season unbeaten for AFC Bournemouth women and ending in promotion this time. I think, whether Bournemouth go unbeaten or not, we'll see. I can't really see anybody beating them personally. In terms of getting promotion, I'm fairly certain that Bournemouth will get the promotion this time. And Oliver, he says promotion and League Cup. He's a Forest fan. Promotion and League Cup and some minutes for academy players. League Cup would be brilliant. I'd love to get to the final of the League Cup again and go with the BBC as I did a couple of years ago. And promotion, yeah, definitely want promotion. That is absolutely for sure. And I mean, if there isn't promotion, it's going to be very difficult, I think. But we'll see. I think it's going to be difficult for the club to take, given all the money that's been put in and everything, if promotion isn't there. But I know that Wolves certainly will be looking to spoil that promotion party for Forest. Forest Wolves, incidentally, unless it's been put in since I last checked, is the only game, it still hasn't, the only game left to be put in the Northern Premier Division to be scheduled in. That was meant to be this weekend, and then the game with Burnley in the FA Cup got postponed and ruined that. But that will get put now much later in the season and be much more likely to be a promotion settler, which will be a fantastic game to go to, even if it's going to be quite nerve-wracking at times. And I think Forest fans will really have to bring the voice there, because I know how loud the Wolves fans are. So it's going to be an interesting one to see when that gets put in, what the state of the two sides are when that game does happen, and what the situation will be coming off the end of it. So yeah, really, that's the state of play going into the start of 2025 within the FAWNL. We have had the manager of the month meeting. We had that just before Christmas, given that we had that winter break. So I would imagine that will come out very, very soon. It should do, really. And be back next week at 8 o'clock. Might be a short one next week as well, because getting on a plane first thing on Friday morning. So it might be quite a short one next week, but we'll see what the situation is. But that will do it for this week's Women's Football Chat. At WFootball Chat on X is the place to go for all the latest news. I'll post the results and everything on Sunday afternoon, results and tables, as soon as the results come in on Sunday afternoon. I think there's the small matter of Liverpool Man U in the men's league, which will be on at the same sort of time. And for news elsewhere in the world of women's football, from results going on today, there was a friendly international today between India and the Maldives. I can't imagine the Maldives have that great of a women's football side, but India won that one by 11 goals to 1. So you could have always watched India against the Maldives somehow, somewhere, I don't know. But that will do it for this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back next week with more of the same. Bye for now.